What up? What up? This is Finance, Fitness, and Folk, a channel where we discuss finance, a little bit of fitness, and talk about some folk. So in today's episode, I'm going to go over 5 tax write-offs for small businesses. All right. So as a disclaimer, I'm not a tax advisor, nor am I a financial advisor. Okay. So these 5 things I'm going to go over are things that I was able to do for myself after talking to a certified tax advisor, a tax agent, right? Because I am a business owner. I do have an LLC, but I was also a sole proprietor previously to me having an LLC. And I was a sole proprietor as far as selling shoes, reselling shoes. And I may make a video about that because actually selling shoes on the resale market actually can be very lucrative. But there's a certain way you have to do it because, yeah, it's just a certain way you have to do it in order for you to be able to scale and build that business brand up quickly. I do still do it on the side every now and then, but I'm more focused on my LLC now. But in saying that, as far as having an LLC now, have my own legitimate business where I have an EIN number and I'm conducting business. Being a sole proprietor, I learned these things while I was a sole proprietor, as far as being able to have certain tax write-offs while I was a sole proprietor. So let's get into it. So the first one is startup costs. So before your business actually begins to run, like having your first day of your business, before that time there's going to be expenses, right? As far as buying maybe you need to buy materials for your business, depending on what kind of business you have. You may need a laptop, you may need to buy office space, rent office space, you may need a vehicle. So all those things can be considered taxable events, but they can be tax write-offs, and there's a certain dollar amount that needs to occur before certain tax things happen with that. But like I said before, make sure you talk to a tax advisor before you go about doing these things. But that's one of the first things that could be tax write-offs, is your startup costs, the money that you use and the things you buy in order for your business to start. All right. So number 2 is going to be vehicle deduction. All right. So that can be done in a couple ways. The main way that I did mine was mileage, as far as how many miles that I had to travel to certain areas for my business, right? But you can also do it as far as counting gas as a write-off, and you can also count your vehicle depreciation. So depending on what kind of vehicle you have and what kind of business you have, of course, vehicles, they depreciate over time. So talking with your tax advisor, they should be able to explain to you a way of you being able to write that vehicle off based off of the depreciation of your vehicle. All right. So like I said, make sure you talk to a tax advisor, make sure they're certified and they're giving you correct information. Right. So number 3 is marketing deduction. All right. So you got to market yourself, if people to know who you are, so your business can actually get out there, right? So that could be social media. You may pay somebody to create a social media page for you. You may pay somebody to create a web page for you. You may pay somebody to create a emblem for you, some type of branding, flyers that you can put out there, business cards. That's all marketing, right? So that cost you use in order to pay for marketing could be tax write-offs for you. All right. So number 4 is business travel. Okay, so that kind of goes in a little bit with the mileage. But I guess your destinations you go to, like let's say you went on a business trip. And it literally was for business. Maybe you was meeting somebody, maybe a partner, or maybe somebody you was going to conduct business with. That can be considered a tax write-off. Okay. But just make sure that once you talk to your tax advisor, you explain to them the reason why you went and what you did on that trip, because all those things can be counted towards a business travel tax write-off. And number 5 is business meals. So that kind of ties into the travel, right? So as you're talking to this associate or you're talking to this business partner, and let's say you're at lunch and you're having a meal with that person. That can be considered, you can count that as a tax write-off. Once again, going over the 5 that I went over. I have my notes here today, so I'm prepared. So first one is startup costs, vehicle deduction, marketing deduction, business travel, and business meals. Okay, so those are 5 things that can be considered tax write-offs for your small business. Tax write-offs are very important, especially once you first start your business, because there are going to be so many expenses that you have to pay, depending on what kind of business you have in order for that business to start and for it to scale. So having a tax write-offs would give you a benefit as far as you not having to pay but so much taxes once the end of the year happens, and then of course the very next year, then you get a letter from the IRS or some type of notice saying, hey, you need to pay your taxes, right? But that goes into the other video that I made previous, as far as what kind of bank accounts you need to have for you to start your business. And one of them I said was a tax account, because you want to make sure you have your tax account separate from your business account, because you want to make sure that you have an audit and you have a situation to where the IRS is kind of questioning your taxes, you can actually direct them straight to that tax account, and that's where all your taxes came from, versus them going into your business account and they're trying to pretty much parse out what was considered taxes, right? So I hope that this right here gives you some leverage and gives you an idea as far as what you can do to minimize your tax liability when it comes to your small business. Like I said before, small businesses can have some very extensive startup costs, and of course throughout the year of you running your business, is going to be a lot of things you have to pay for. So just make sure that you are aware of those things you can actually use as a tax write-off. I only named 5, but there actually are a lot more. I think I saw one video a while back where this guy went over 25 things you can use as a tax write-off. So there's so many ways for you to limit your tax liability. But do your own research, talk to a tax advisor, and make sure that you're giving them the proper information so you can be able to scale your business, but not have your business be hit so much with taxes. All right. So like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this was very educational for you guys. And for those small business owners out there, keep your head up. Don't give up. Keep the faith. If you run into like a hard place right now, just make sure you push through, because statistically, a lot of small businesses, they do shut down within a short period of time. So only the ones that actually are able to take the heat and hang in there, those are the ones that are going to make it. And the ones that make it through are the ones that scale, and they're the ones that are successful. So I hope that you are one of the ones that actually have a small business and you're able to ride that wave out and come through on the other side. All right. Finance, Fitness, and Folk. Triple F, I'm gone.